Now, battery swapping station, it is a technology that NIO is currently deploying, and those users that buy the NIO cars and subscribe to bus get to enjoy utilizing this technology that NIO it is deploying. I mean, this is a technology that is so unique to NIO because no any other EV maker is deploying such a technology. This is a technology that in Shanghai, NIO has reached a break-even point, meaning that they are not running at a loss, but they are at a break-even point, and we read or we heard this back in December of 23, which is something that is pretty amazing because, ladies and gents, it means that the new users in Shanghai are swapping or are doing a lot of swaps, which is making NIO not to even experience a loss onto their battery swapping stations. I think back then when we did a video about that, I did some calculation which indicated that for NIO to reach a break-even point on all of their battery swapping stations, they need to swap at least 140,000 swap or complete 140,000 swaps per day, which, knowing that right now, ladies and gents, NIO is sort of like halfway through that target, makes me to be really excited and makes me to have confidence that NIO will get to that, because the more NIO deploys this battery swapping station and sell their cars, is the more we're going to see the users wanting to swap or subscribing to this bus, which entails them going to swap their batteries. I mean, you will know that NIO has currently completed over 37,200,000 swaps, which is something that just has to show you that this technology that is working. I mean, from 36 to 37 million, it only took NIO 2 weeks to do or to complete another million from 36 to 37 million, which is something that just has to show you that on average NIO is currently completing around 71,000 swaps, which makes me to be really excited because the more the NIO user swap is, of course, the more convenient they will be getting, or as they enjoy swapping the batteries, and these will also, of course, give more revenues into NIO, because sometimes when some of the NIO users they swap, not only do they pay for the swapping fees, but they sometimes upgrade to a bigger battery size, and that is 100 kilowatts, where of course they pay a certain fee, which now during the holidays will be around $12 per upgrade, which of course under normal circumstances when there are no holidays, they pay roughly around $7 per upgrade. This is something that is good on both sides, because as users get the, of course, comfortability, or they get the benefits of swapping the battery in less than 5 minutes, on the other side NIO generates more and more revenues from these services. So I'm very excited, and to know that from 36 to 37 million it only took NIO 2 weeks, it makes me to be really excited, because guess what, on these past 3 days already NIO has surpassed over, or has completed over 200,000 swaps. This is something that is pretty amazing, because in fact for the first 2 days NIO was sitting at around or almost 150 swaps, so they had completed roughly around 150,000 swap, which means that on average per day, or for the first 2 days, NIO of course swapped around 74,000 swaps per day, which is something that is pretty good. Like yesterday it was sitting at over 201,000, which of course, yes, I know it is not as good as the first 2 days, but this shows you that, ladies and gents, we might get to see another million of NIO completing the swaps coming in the next week or so, which is something that will be so great. And what is really interesting about next week is that you'll know that the Chinese New Year holiday it's commencing, and that is where we usually see the demand in swaps surging, which therefore means that we could see NIO, ladies and gents, completing so many swaps per day, because you'll know that the existing record that NIO holds, I think it's around 78,000 per day of completed swaps, which I think we can easily get to see NIO going over 80,000 during the holidays, because NIO has got, of course, or has sold more cars, meaning that we're going to get to see more consumers going in and wanting to swap the batteries or utilizing the battery swapping stations. And on the other hand, NIO has deployed more battery swapping stations, which means that there will be more battery swapping stations that the new users can go to complete or to do a battery swap. So I'm very excited about this whole thing of battery swapping station, because it is another revenue segment, or it is another segment that brings in revenues onto NIO, over and above the charging infrastructure or the charging stations, where also those that uses that infrastructure, ladies and gents, also pay. And you will know that, as per the NIO CEO, 80%, when we look into the charging infrastructure, 80% of the charging infrastructure is being used by non-NIO EV users, which is something that must just show you that it appears that other brands are using most of the NIO charging infrastructures, which is something that shows you that there is a shortage of this charging infrastructure. I mean, we've seen videos of people fighting for chargers, which shows you, or has to show you, that, ladies and gents, the 20,000 charging piles that NIO currently has are still not enough, together with the charging piles from other companies. These are still not enough, and I think it is for this reason why NIO is targeting at 20,000 more charging piles this year, or to find themselves sitting at 40,000 charging piles, because they see the demand into, of course, the charging infrastructure, regardless of them deploying the, of course, battery swapping stations, but they also still see more demand into, of course, the charging infrastructure, which is why as they are deploying more battery swapping stations, they will be also deploying more charging infrastructure or charging piles, which is something that is pretty good. So going into the holidays, which is going to start this coming week, I look forward to the kind of swaps that NIO will be completing, especially on their swapping stations. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I'd just give you this quick updates. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment and subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell, so that every time I drop a NIO content, you get to be the first one to be sent a notification by YouTube. I mean, NIO is one of the stocks that I talk a lot about on this channel, because I believe in their fundamentals, their future prospects, and I believe that those that are persevering throughout these headwinds are definitely going to be rewarded in the long term. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.